All right, Oregon Hyrox Challenge racers, we're going to go over some of the movement standards and what to expect when you get to each station. Now, take note that this is being done in our gym. It is going to be at CrossFit The Den, where the layout and everything is going to be a little bit different. The turf is going to be a little bit different, so just kind of take that note. But this is just for the purpose of going over the standards that we expect when you get to each station. The loop that you're going to run will be 2 loops entirely, and you will each time run to the cone before you go to each station. And the cone will be at a spot either next to the side door if you have to go in the gym, or a turnaround if you have to go to the sleds, or you continue to get to the row, the ski, and the farmer carry. So just make sure that after you run your second lap, your cone is the spot that you turn at to go to your station. We will have a sign that lists everyone in order. We will also have a person, either me or another judge, out there to tell you where to go based on where you're at, and just make sure that you're running your laps. First station that you're going to do is the ski erg. So we will have at least 5 ski ergs out there to pick from. It is first come, first serve in this case, so don't worry about the lane number. Just get to a ski erg. They are all going to be preset to meters, and the screen will be blank. So you're just gonna have to grab the handles and start. Now, the rules are that you cannot step off the platform until you are done with your 1,000 meters. You may change the damper within that 1,000 meters if you want, so you can touch the damper setting. It's not like you have to set it and then let it go. And then when you are close, so if you are approaching 1,000 meters, it is about 980, 990. You get to 1,000, call, raise your hand. A judge will come over, verify you have 1,000, and you're going to set the handles up. So make sure that you don't let them flop. Make sure you set them up there, and then you will continue your run. When you are done with the ski erg, you do not have to go back to the cone. You can leave right from your ski erg and continue along the track. The next 2 stations we have in order will be the sled push, followed by the sled pull. For these ones, you are running to the cone, and then you will run back into the street to get to the sled pushing and pulling stations. So for the sled push, the type of sled will be these prowler styles with the plates set up to their designated weight on the poles themselves. And any style of pressing is permitted, meaning that you can push your chest through, you can wrap your elbows around, you can go long style. Any style is permitted. If you are doing a team, one person is working, the other person is resting. You may pick it up at any point in time. So 25 meters out, it's about 82 feet out, and then 25 meters back. So I want you to pretend that line is 25 meters out. So 82 feet, you're going to push the entire sled over across the line. Once the sled is across the line, you are going to pivot and turn it around. It doesn't matter if the sled passes over the line on the way back, and you're going to push the sled all the way back to the other starting line. For our sled pull, we are going to modify the weight slightly from the prescribed. Just as when we tested the simulation, it ended up being a lot stickier based on the surface of the road. So the weights on the actual pulling sled itself are going to be a little bit lower in order to accommodate for that. We are going to be using these TRX straps with handles, and you can lean back and walk back with the weight. You can also thrust it, whatever you need to do to get that weight on the other side of the line. And then you're going to pivot. So once the entire weight has crossed the line, you're going to turn back and go 25 meters back in the other direction. Again, as you are pivoting, it doesn't matter if the weight crosses the line. What matters is that it crosses on the way down. And then whatever you do to get the weight to turn around, you're going to come back and cross the other line on the way back. Station number 4 is going to be our burpee broad jump. And for this one, we did choose to actually do it across a distance instead of back and forth between lines. And it will be the exact distance that is the Hyrox race, meaning that you are going to have to go about 80 meters. The standards that we're looking for the burpee broad jump, you are going to start behind the line. So as you come in the side door, you are going to go off to the left, and there will be some lines on the floor. you are going to start your hands behind the line. So fingers, hands behind the line. You're going to bring your chest all the way down to the ground. You may step up or bring your feet however you want, but they must be parallel to each other, meaning you can't start from a staggered jump. So parallel however you get there, and you must do a 2-foot hop parallel when you land. Your hands must be placed within 12 inches, so the back of your heel of the palm, 12 inches from your toes. So you can't jump out and do your next burpee ahead of you. You must place your hands down within 12 inches. So again, you can jump your feet up, you can step your feet up, you can crawl, but your feet cannot pass where your hands were placed on the ground. So meaning you can't jump way up here and do your next burpee. Your feet must be somewhere behind the hands. Again, 2 feet jumping together. You may not land staggered. You must land with your feet together. Otherwise, we will make you go back to the starting line and do the burpee again. So if there is any point in time where you do not adhere to the standard, and I know like we're not going to come out with an actual ruler and measure, you know, for your toe to hand. We're just going to eyeball it, but just making sure again your hands are within about a forearm's distance or 12 inches. So if at any point in time you mess up a standard, then you're going to have to go all the way back to the starting line of that length and redo it from there. Okay. So the burpee broad jumps, you will turn around at approximately 8 meters. So again, if you're right here, you still have to do that little tiny jump to get both feet across the line. So the way we're going to set it up is it's going to be 10 lengths of about 8 meters long. So you will be going back and forth down approximately 10 times across 8 meters. Our 5th station will be the rower, and just like the ski ergs, we'll have a bunch of rowers out. They will also be first come, first serve, so you do not need to go into a particular lane. I do recommend picking the rower furthest down the line if possible. So when you get to your rower, you will need to strap your feet in. So regardless of what number, whether it's a 1 or a 5 or however you do it, you want to make sure that your feet are strapped in. They don't actually have to be tight. You just have to have them under the strap. So we are not going to allow feet on top of the straps. I know that's a really quick way to change if you are a team, but just make sure that your feet are under the straps. You're going to want this anyways. So the handles will be reset by the judge so that they are back in the cradle, so you don't have to reach all the way up the top. And then the rower monitors will be hopefully set to meters by the time you get there. So you are going to start pulling the rower. You may change the flywheel at any point in time during the rower if you would like. You don't have to set it there. You can change your foot strap as long as your feet are in the straps. And then when you reach 1,000 meters, so raise your hands right when it gets to 1,000 meters. Judge will come over there, okay you, and then you are off on your way. You don't have to go back to the cone. You can continue right from the rowing station down the loop and continue your run. One quick note on teams: if you are the person not working, you are standing behind the person rowing. So you are not next to them. You will be standing behind that person, and that person will get off, and then you will change however you want. You can hand the handle to the other person, however you want to do that. So just remember that you're standing behind the rower if you are not the working person. Okay, let's go over station number 6, which is the farmer carry. So when you pass the cone, you will continue to about where the ski ergs end, and then there will be a box with a bunch of kettlebells. The kettlebells will be color-coded, and we'll make sure that you have your color designated for what you need to pick up. So you're going to pick up your set of kettlebells from the box. You can hold the handles if you want, so as long as they're by your sides. And you're going to go one length all the way out 100 meters. There will be a line out almost near the curb, all the way at the end of the back alleyway, and then you're going to turn around and come back. So again, whenever you set the kettlebells down, wherever they're at, even if they're in front of you, behind you, just pick them up and go. So all the way back to the line. There will be a judge to make sure that you pass the line, and then all the way back. And then you must put the kettlebells back in the designated box. So you can't just like set them down. You do have to put them back in the box before you continue your route. If you're working with the team, the person picks up the kettlebells on the ground wherever the other person set them down. I mean, you could pass them in your hands if you really want to, but it might be easier to just set them on the ground and the other person comes up and picks them up. You can switch them however you want. Station number 7 will be the walking lunge. So again, for this one, you're going to come in the side door, and then you're going to go to the right where you will have 10 meters between the lines, and you are going to complete 10 lengths, meaning 100 meters of walking lunges. You will be using a dumbbell, a single dumbbell, and you may hold it anywhere above the belly button. So meaning you cannot suitcase carry this dumbbell. You must have it above the belly button, either on the front rack, on the shoulder, behind the neck, if you want to hold it overhead, however you want to hold the dumbbell. Now, if you have a teammate and you're doing this in a team, you must pass the dumbbell from one teammate to another without it touching the floor. There will be a penalty. If the dumbbell touches the floor, we will make you come all the way back to the line you were previously at and complete the entire length again. So anytime that you have to set or drop the dumbbell down, you will go back to the other the line that you just completed. So if you get to the other side and you drop the dumbbell, you have to come all the way back to this line to complete that length again. Okay, so the idea is you don't put the dumbbell down. Once it is up, you are holding the dumbbell somehow on your shoulders, above the belly button, and the dumbbell does not touch the floor. And again, the penalty is to redo that length, the previous length that you just did. So the walking lunge will start with your feet behind the line. The first step will start to go across the line. The knee must touch the floor and your hips must show full extension between each lunge. You can swipe your feet through as long as you show full extension, and the length is completed when both feet have stepped to the other side. So if your toe, let me see if I can show you an example here. So if your toe or foot is on the line, you must do another lunge in order for both feet to be on the other side. So you better get that heel all the way on the other side of the line. So common no reps, for example, not touching the knee to the ground. Okay, so make sure that knee touches to the ground. And then also not extending the hips all the way. So make sure that you open up those hips and those knees, make it really obvious that you've stood up all the way, shoulders over hips. It doesn't matter if you lunge forward like this, as long as those hips open all the way. The final station is 75 wall balls. So you will come in through the side door and you will head to your actual lane assignment. And this is where we know who you are. So if you are in lane number 3, you want to make sure that you go to number 3 so that we get your name or your team name and your time correct. Now, for some reason, there's a mix-up or there's a bottleneck and your lane is somehow occupied. When you get there, you're going to go to a open lane that we have, and we'll make sure that we get your name and your time appropriate for your division and everything else. So if anything, the judge will make sure they note your time when you pass out of the garage door so that you can have an accurate recording of your placement. So the wall ball will be right in front of the target. At the den, they have a double target. So there will be a 9-foot target below and a 10-foot target above. And the bolt at the bottom is the bottom of that. So you want to make sure that the center of the ball at least hits the bolt or above that target. So you may go right into the squat. You do not have to stand up all the way before you stand down. We're not going to require that at this one. I know at the regular Hyrox ones they do. So you may pick it up and go right into a squat as long as your hip crease is below the knee. So your judge will be checking. The person's hip crease is going below the knee at the bottom of the wall ball. It doesn't matter if you have it here or like up here or whatever, as long as you're getting that full depth. And then you are going to toss that ball up to your target. If the ball drops, you must let it fully settle down before you pick it up again. Okay, so 75 wall balls. If you miss the target, that is a no rep. If you hit the bottom or below where it's supposed to go, that is also a no rep. So make sure that you're hitting depth and make sure that you're hitting the target. So the judge will be looking for those things, and they will call a no rep and make you redo it until you get 75 good reps. Once you have finished your 75 wall ball reps and the judge gives you an okay, you are going to run out the garage door, which is our finish line, and you will see a TV screen to your left. The TV screen on your left will show the time that has elapsed since the very first heat. So we will make sure that based on what time that you started, that we subtract that time on the screen. So take note, if you're in one of the later heats and it says 2.5 hours, that most likely you started an hour later, and we'll make sure that we subtract that hour time so your time is accurate.